Welcome to Year, Make, Model, Money, the auto parts e-commerce podcast by Data Here to There. In each episode, we break down the key trends, challenges, and opportunities in the aftermarket parts industry and e-commerce. From interviews with industry leaders to tips on streamlining your business, we'll give you the knowledge to stay competitive in today's market. It's time to take your business to the next level with Year, Make, Model, Money.
Welcome everyone, I'm Barry Alt with Motorhead Digital and my co-host is Brennan Christman from Data Here to There. We're excited to kick off this episode of Year, Make, Model, Money podcast by Data Here to There.
Hey everyone.
Today we're thrilled to have Frank Derks as our guest. Frank is the owner of EuroSport Tuning and Data Here to There customer. Welcome, Frank.
Hello. Glad to be here and excited for this podcast.
I understand this is your first podcast experience.
Yeah, a newbie to this.
We're going to break you in.
We'll give it a go.
So I wanted to kick off this episode with a fun question. Frank, what was your first car and when did you get it?
Oh, my first car. I got it before I had my license. I was about 14 years old, and it was a 1971 Volvo P1800 that we actually had to cut down trees to get it out of the forest. And then I spent 2 years restoring that vehicle. And when I got my license, shortly after, I was able to drive it. And I actually still own the car today.
Oh, that's cool.
It's one of those cars I've never sold and always kept. So
That's awesome. I have one of those in my history too, but I did sell it. Really wish I didn't. But I bet that gets you a lot of attention. That's a pretty unique car, hey?
yeah, it for sure. I mean, I've got a 911 turbo as well, but when I bring the old Volvo out to the gas station, everyone comes up to me and says, "What kind of car is that?" The Porsche? They couldn't care. So it grabs a lot of attention, that's for sure.
So is that
That's
how
awesome.
you got into tuning European cars, working on your own stuff?
Yeah, basically, my father was a mechanic, and we played around on cars on the weekend. Lived out in the country, big barn with hoist, and worked on cars over the weekend. So that's how I kind of got into the business.
I'll tell you what, I've met a lot of people in the industry and automotive aftermarket that their daddy either was a DIY or worked on the cars, did all his own work like myself, or someone like yourself that, their dad had a business, and that's pretty cool. When did you actually start your business?
I actually started it about 26 years ago now. I was, in my 20s. Started off just a part-time business, kind of doing it on the side, and then it grew over the years, and eventually quit my full-time job and decided to take it full-time, and it grew and has been growing every year since then. So it's been a fun journey.
Did you?
That's cool to hear.
That is cool. How many employees do you have?
So we've got 3 people that are in like sales and service, and then there's 3 techs as well that are working on cars, and myself.
Have you found it hard to find help?
I've had a lot of turnover. I mean, it's kind of the younger generation that wants this type of job, working on cars or, in parts. And it's harder to get older, experienced people. So with always hiring that younger generation, there seems to be a lot of turnover. So it is hard to keep employees long term, I found. I've got a lot of employees that wanted to stay, but they had to move because their girlfriend moved out of town and they went with them. So a lot of employees wanted to stay, but other circumstances, family moving, whatever, they weren't able to stay. So that's unfortunate because they really enjoyed the job here too.
I talked to a guy a while back that owned a shop, and his dad owned the shop before, and he got into restoring classics in his driveway. he goes to senior living community and hires these guys that have retired, that worked in the business for years, and brings them in for 2 or 3 days a week because he says they're bored. They want to do something and they know all the, they know how to work on those old cars, right? And then he has them teach the younger people. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that is really passing on,
I'd be
right? Passing on the information generation to
Yeah, for
generation.
sure.
I'd be pretty curious what kind of retirement home you'd have to hit to find somebody who services Frank's niche cars. there might be a little retirement village out in Germany and Berlin or something
Yeah, I don't
like
know about
that
the
that might have
European cars,
some
but
experience. But
somebody's had to work on them all these years, Um,
Yeah,
this day and
yeah,
age, people don't even know what points and condensers are.
that's true. Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge of launching your business?
Um, it's well, back then it was setting up the website. That was the biggest challenge, and I mean that's 25 years ago. The websites, the internet's quite different now than it was back then. The very first site I set up, I did it actually myself, learning HTML coding and stuff like that. So I set up the very first website myself, and then as we grew, we worked with several companies, but it's always ever changing landscape, website and competitors and data. So it's always changing. You always have to be looking out for the next, I don't know, easiest, not really easiest, but most efficient way to get data on the site and products on the site. That's been always the challenge to get it connected, updated. And this past couple of years since COVID, pricing is changing constantly, and with tariffs, pricing constantly changes every month. And when you have 50, 60 different brands, it can be a big task to always update these pricing. So having a good source to get the data from, that's the biggest key
Well, yeah, and
nowadays.
that's kind of how you got connected with
absolutely.
Data Here to There, looking for a solution that would help you with that. How long have you been working with Data Here to There?
I think we've been working with them for about 5 years now, so quite a long time. We've been tweaking the process ever since the beginning, and really happy with what we have right now. And it's constantly, I mean, I'm talking with them almost every month on little tweaks we can do to improve stuff. So it's a great relationship
So
we
you're
have with them.
actually adding to the development of the Turn 14 distribution app, is my understanding, the app you're using, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're using that app with them. We've got data tied into several other resources as well that we are using with them. So it's always growing, and we've got a few more in the pipeline that we're working with them right now. So always something to do.
Did
Hmm.
you started the e-commerce first before you started the actual shop, right?
Yeah, yeah. So most of the time we've been just parts, distribution of parts, online parts sales. We have a separate division that does wholesale as well to dealers we have across Canada. So that's in our division that we do that. Parts is our main business, and then recently we've partnered with shops to do installation and service work as well.
You just moved into a new shop, didn't you, Frank?
Yeah, yeah. About a year ago now, moved into a new location where we're housing both our business and VPX. So we're have the relationship of parts and service all in one location, and working together with them to give the customer, the right from beginning to end experience. Because a lot of customers, especially in our niche, where guys want to do the full build. They want to bring the car to one spot and get it all done at one spot, not having to buy parts here, go there, get installed. So the relationship's working out really well.
Are you just doing
That's good to hear.
tuning, or are you doing some restoration work, or just modification or performance modifications, are all of the above?
It's mostly performance modifications, ECU tuning. Most of the tunes we do are more off-the-shelf tunes, not really any custom tunes. But most of the stuff, customers come to us, they want to do like a full build, like intake, intercooler, downpipe, turbo upgrades, wheels, suspension, brakes. So it's that kind of builds
Okay,
that we're
that's
doing.
cool.
When you're talking about customers wanting to come to one place specifically to get like the whole shot done, do you think it's is what's driving them there? Do you think it's convenience, or is it more along the lines of customers are more trusting and more faithful in a shop that can do everything for their car, like top to bottom?
I think it's both. Convenience is one thing. They don't want to have to go to multiple places, and have the confidence in one place to bring the car. So if anything does happen or something needs to be changed or improved or whatever, they can go to that one source. It's often like a lot of shops don't like people bringing their own parts to shops, just because then there becomes that, it's not our fault, it's the part fault, and they say no, it's not
Hmm.
the part fault, it's the install fault. So doing it all under one roof, all together, helps and makes the people more confident in the work that we do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we've heard a lot of. There's some horror stories out there about people bringing their own parts, and then because they buy stuff, it doesn't fit. Run into all
Yeah,
run into all sorts of issues there. So it's nice to be able to.
yeah,
I'm assuming you're saying, look, we have everything here. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. Work with us to, and I think
Hmm.
it'll be a better experience for everybody, right?
yeah, for sure.
So, Frank, I'm curious, what do you think was kind of one of the biggest points that kind of led to your success in your niche there? Was it like presenting as an expert in that niche of vehicle? Were you just the first to the market? Like what's really helped you climb to the top?
I mean, when we first started, we focused mainly on just Volvos because that's what I knew, and Volvo
Hmm.
tuning. It's if you want to call it niche, that is a niche.
I guess.
So uh, we did Volvo tuning, and that's what our niche was. And back then, there was a market for Volvo tuning. Back when they did all the racing in Europe and stuff like that, people wanted to do
Hmm.
their Volvos here. So there was a niche for it. We brought a lot of products over from Sweden that no one else carried. So that's what kind of set us apart at the beginning. And then we expanded into all the other European brands. Over the years, still what set us apart, I'd say, is probably the fact that all the different brands that we carry. There's a lot of brands that we still have, like North American or Canadian distribution rights to, so that they either customers have to buy it from us or from one of our dealers. So those kind of sets us apart from now. Plus, I mean, customer service, that's always been key in our business. Getting the part to the customer as quickly as possible and make sure it's the right part. That's a big thing that we've pushed on our website over the years is the fitment data. That's a
Hmm.
huge task. And to get that data right, so people are getting the right part that fits their car, we've spent countless hours, days, years developing that data. So that's kind of what I think sets us apart because a lot of people can create a website, put products on there, but then have it that people can find it for their specific car, and
Hmm.
that's what kind of sets us apart. I think from I wouldn't say from a lot of companies in North America, but specifically in Canada, there's not many other websites that are focused on the Canadian market. Although we do all North America, um, our website does have a focus for Canada as well, and there's not many companies out there that have the same kind of fitment data that we have on our site.
I didn't dig deep into the site. Do you actually do blog content and things like that, explaining to DIYers how to think about your products or install products or anything like that?
We do have blog posts that we do, kind of give them a DIY or DIY of, what wheel spacers should I go with, what thickness, what size, what's the best, diverter valve or blow up valve, what's the difference between a test pipe or a high flow cat. So we have a whole
Good.
section
Yeah,
on our
that's
website that
important
kind
these
of
days. Yeah,
explains that as well.
especially with
Yeah,
AI, people are asking AI a lot of questions. So the more information you can have that's accurate and shows that
yeah,
your experience and your expertise helps helps AI
yeah,
go, oh,
Mhm.
they have the answer. I'm going to give it to this person asking the question, right?
yeah, yeah. And that's what we're actually finding right now. We are getting quite a few sales from like Chat GPT that people are, putting some phrase in, and I don't know what they put in, but it's driving them to our site and doing some purchases. So that's always a good sign to see as well.
Absolutely. The AI optimization is the new SEO, and everybody's kind of trying to jump onto that bandwagon now as quickly as they can and make sure that their sites are tuned for AI agents and AI shopping and stuff. I think it's kind of just an evolution of the back in the day, just, showing up to the car meet and you see some guy with the same car as you, and you're like, oh, hey, what have you done to yours? Where'd you get that? Right? Where'd you get that part? Who did that work, right? And now people are just going into chat gpt for it. But personally, I still really enjoy going to the car show to
Yeah,
ask those
it's
questions.
Yeah.
interesting because one of the things I wanted to ask you was about your car shows and customer events that you do
Hmm.
and how that relates to turning into business and how you're not. I don't think I think a lot of people just shops and stuff do that just to have something fun, but a lot of times that turns into
Mhm.
business. Does that help your business as a marketing tool?
Yeah, it's very hard to measure that. I mean, years ago we went to car shows. We still do, but not as much as we did years ago, because that has really changed. People would come with loads of cash to these shows before and want to buy stuff, and now they're at the show with their phones comparing pricing
Oh,
of what
gee.
you have on
Yes.
display at
You're
your booth.
talking to ChatGPT,
So
right?
it's completely different, but I think still the best thing is having your own
Yeah.
events that we have, like Cars and Coffee or customer appreciation events that we have at our location, because it not only gets out your customers but gets out friends of theirs as well, so they can see what you offer and what kind of products you carry and services. So we try to do one of those at least a year, and we've done that for quite a few years. So that's something that we think is very helpful, especially when you move to a new location. You want them to know where your new location is. So yeah, I find
Hmm.
they're still very helpful, and we always have a great turnout
Yeah,
at
Cars
those
and
events.
Coffee is huge around here. I live east of Buffalo, about 2 hours, and there's a huge coffee and cars in Buffalo. And even in
Yeah.
Rochester, a little speed shop here does like four a year, and they run out of parking. It's huge.
Yeah, I've heard about the one in Buffalo. There's a lot of Canadians
Oh
that
yeah,
come over to that
yeah.
one
And there's
too. Yeah.
everything from McLarens to Volkswagens
Yeah.
at these shows. It's just insane. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Do you do tours of your facility while you do those when you have those?
We do open it up. There's some areas that customers are just not
Right.
allowed in, but we try to open it up as much as possible. We bring more products to display. We often have like raffles and things like that. So it's always a good time.
Back to the what is the biggest advantage of having the data here, their app, the Turn 14 app? I want to dig into a little further because we talked about all the issues with data and everything, and a lot of people. I've run into a lot of people putting up sites for e-commerce and manually loading stuff still.
Yeah, we still manual load a lot of stuff. And it is those kind of niche brands that we
Yeah,
still have to
that's
manually
pretty
upload
typical. Yeah.
those. And those are often really good sellers too, because not everyone's website has it. To get them on the site, it requires a lot more work, but you get I find a better return on those than brands that are easily uploaded. But that said, we need to carry all those other brands as well, and those are much easier to upload, especially working with data here to there. There's, I'd say, 80% of our catalog is stuff that they upload to the site. So it's a good chunk of what we carry is done through them. And the biggest advantage I find, especially in the last couple of years, that I mentioned, is the updating of pricing, with manufacturers changing pricing constantly. Some we have every month they change the price. So having a live feed that automatically changes that pricing is a huge benefit. And adding new products is also another great benefit, because it will automatically add new products to the site when they become available, and also remove those that are discontinued from the site. So we're not getting orders of stuff that's discontinued and no longer available. So having a source like that is vital to
And
our
they do the
website.
drop shipping and everything, right? So you don't have to have an inventory, correct?
So most so a lot of our orders, yeah, we do drop ship if they are in the U.S. But a lot of our orders are from Canadian customers as well. So we have a warehouse in Buffalo, where a lot of our U.S. suppliers will ship to, and then we bring the product across into our location here in Canada, and then from there we'll ship it out to customers, or even have customers pick up their
Okay.
orders. So. We've been doing that for almost since the beginning, and it seems to work out well.
So I will get into this discussion. Has the tariffs affected you?
Um, it has, in a good way and bad way, um, depending on the time of the year. At the beginning of last year, it worked out well for us when the U.S. imposed all those tariffs, because there was a couple suppliers that weren't shipping into the U.S. anymore, and a lot of people ended up buying those products from other companies like ourselves, and we were able to ship it into the U.S. As long as it was under that de minimis ruling of $800, and most orders, our average order is like $300, so they're going into the U.S. no problem. But once they got rid of that ruling, then it's become a lot more difficult, and it's we've really limited the products that we ship into the U.S. There isn't a whole lot to begin with, but at the moment, there's only three suppliers that we're shipping products into the U.S., and most of those are because customers can't get those products in the U.S., so they're having to search outside of the U.S. to get
And
those
they're probably
products.
willing to
So
pay a little bit of a premium, right?
yeah, for sure. Often, one of the brands is wheels, so they're buying a lot of wheels from us, and we're having to reach out to the customers to let them know that, either we'll cover those tariffs for you, which will be X amount, or you might get hit with them on delivery. So we're giving them the information before, so they know before the part arrives at the door what to expect.
Gotcha. Um, every business has to market their business. So what marketing channels work best for you?
Um, it seems like Google ads, Facebook Meta ads. We've spent a lot of money on those the past year, and we're seeing really good return on that. Um, Instagram, we try to update with new stories and posts every week. but it's a little harder to measure the results with that. So I still think the Google ads and Facebook Meta ads seem to be the best that we're finding.
Are you? I'm just curious for myself. Are you doing any email marketing or anything like that?
Yeah, we do have an email list that we send out emails a couple times a month, mainly brands that are on sale that month or new products that have come out. But I don't know. Sometimes they seem to work well, and sometimes it's something I think you have to do. Some people, we don't see the greatest return on those, but it's still something that I feel you got to do because you got to keep customers updated. Some of them are on that platform. Some people are on Instagram, so you kind of have to do all the platforms because not everyone is on every specific platform. So you kind of got to do them all.
Is that because your market, your customer base is really broad, and that because I know that Facebook has been kind of 45 to 70 or 50 to 70 age, and then
Yeah.
TikTok and Instagram are trend a little younger. You have a wider
Yeah.
range because of the vehicles that you have parts for.
Yeah, I'd say we do have a wide range. I mean, most of them are in that 20 to 40 category, but we've got a lot of customers that are in the 40 to 60 as well. We got some customers that they're retired and they're still wanting to tune their cars. So yeah, it's a wide range of customers, and everyone's on a different platform, so you kind of got to cater to all of them.
Are you doing anything on LinkedIn? I'm just curious. No.
No, no, that's nothing we've tried. I personally am on LinkedIn, but we haven't done any kind of marketing or
Gotcha.
anything on there.
Gotcha. Um,
I'm curious, Frank, do you see a lot of your business tend to be coming from new customers or repeat business from existing customers?
Majority are new customers. We have a lot of repeat customers, but the thing with it is, I mean, a lot of our customers are all over North America, so they're just looking for the best deal and who's got it in stock and who can get it to me the quickest. So we might be that choice this day, but next week it might be someone else. So um, a lot of the more loyal customers are the ones that are closer to us. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's the ones in the U.S. where there's so many options. It's hard. We try to keep marketing to them to keep them in mind, keep our name in mind with them. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's tough sometimes with all the competition that's out there.
I
Yeah.
can say I've noticed being in the marketing business and being in this space with automotive aftermarket is you've niched down into the Eurosport, right? There's a lot of uh, shops out there or people creating online stores that are they're looking. I'm going to sell everything, and they're
Hmm.
competing with the Jegs and the Summits of the world. And I've just
Yeah,
found that niching down into, like, we had a guest on that niched down into Corvettes, right? And he's focused on that.
hmm,
That is, I think anybody listening that wants to, work with data here or there for a shop in a box or their apps, think about niching down and focusing very clearly on a specific area
yeah,
within the industry, not trying to sell every part to everybody, whether you're doing regular
yeah,
parts or performance parts or whatever, because all you're doing is
yeah,
you're going up against
Hmm.
everybody else doing that, plus the big boys that everybody knows, right?
yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree with that 100%. If anyone's, starting a new business, they need to find their niche and market to that because, yeah, you can't compete with, the guys that are selling everything because you just can't. They're so big. You got to find some way to make yourself different and grow with that. And then when you do get bigger, you can, add all those other brands that are so competitive.
Hmm.
Can you share a couple recommendation tips, advice with our audience on what to avoid the pitfalls of starting an e-commerce site? Because you've been doing it a long time, so you got a lot of experience.
That's a great question. What to avoid? Um, avoid thinking it's easy because it's not easy. Um,
Hmm.
no, it takes a lot of work. You got to invest a lot of time and a lot of work. And finding the right partners is key to the success. You got to find the people that know um, the market that you're in, because we've tried, you know, marketing with different companies, and they might be great at SEO, but they don't know automotive SEO, and that is a completely different market. You can tell them how many times, you know, you need to know, you know, these chassis codes or these body codes, and you need to put that information in there, and then they've got always their own way of doing it. But finding someone that knows your market when you're marketing the company and can help you with that, that's the biggest key, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Having the right partners, even in the
Yeah.
for ads or for data integration, things like that. Brennan, any
Yeah.
other questions?
Well, as we're getting on our time here, I do like to end things off with some more entertaining questions about specifically about cars because that's my biggest passion, and I'm sure I share that with both of you. And I don't get to talk about them nearly enough in a job related to automotive data. So I like to ask some questions like, Frank, you know, maybe what's one of the coolest customer cars you've seen come through the shop that pops out in your head?
Mm, we've got quite a few. I mean, I always like those. I mean, this week we had an RS, no, it was a RS4 wagon in the shop that we're doing a Miltech exhaust on. And those cars weren't available here in North America. And
Mm-hmm.
the wagon, I mean, the sedan was available, but not the wagon. And I'm a big wagon lover. I mean, Volvo wagons were always my thing. And that was one of my favorite cars that came in here. And not just mine, like the guys in the shop, when they see that car, I mean, they're seeing all these other cars, you know, the normal like 911s and stuff every day. But this thing comes in, it's
Mm-hmm.
not something super crazy, some supercar, but it's just something that's different.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, what was it? There was a R32 that one of our employees had, but it was from Japan. And
Oh,
it got
right-hand
so
drive.
many looks and so many comments because it was just unique and different. You don't see it every day. So, I mean, those types of cars I really like seeing in the shop, something that's, you know, not your everyday type of car. I mean, a lot of what I see every day is, you know, 911s or Golf Rs or S4s. So to see something that's unique, that's unusual,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually what stands out in my mind when you say, you know, what kind of cool cars have you seen?
Fair enough. I'd continue that on with a slightly different question in the same vein, though. If you were in the market for a car to modify in your niche, what would you say is one of the cars that gets like the most interesting or the most impressive gains out of aftermarket? Because a lot of cars that
Mm,
come from the factory these days, there isn't a ton you can do on top. I know, for instance, like the C8 Corvette, I know there's a lot of issues with people making exhausts for that, and they can't make them louder or better than the stock one.
mhm. Um, Turbo cars, any turbo car, I love those. Just because you can get so much power out of them just with software.
Mm-hmm.
Software exhaust intake. You can easily get some of these cars easy 100 horsepower just with
Oh, really?
software.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, yeah, especially the you know the V8s, the twin turbo V8s and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
100 horsepower is no problem just with software. So um, those are the, the cars I like to see because I mean, the customer comes in here, we have the car for a couple hours, and he's got, over 100 horsepower more, and he takes it on the street, and it's like, wow, that's a huge difference. It's not like an intake where it's like, do I feel this or don't? I can hear it, but don't really feel power, or is there power? The software, that's where you get those huge gains from, and that's where customers always, they get addicted at that point. It's like, what do I do next? What do I do next? I want more power. So yeah, the big V8s, the twin turbos, but anything with a turbo, I basically love working on those cars.
Can you tell us how people can find you, where to look you up, where you're on social media, your website, things like that?
Best way to reach me is through email, frank at EuroSportTuning.com, or the business line here is 905-825-9334. Or you can also check out our website, EuroSportTuning.com.
Cool. Well, it's been great chatting with you today. I learned a lot about your business, and hopefully our listeners will learn even more about how you're, about your business and about Data Here to There and how they can help somebody that wants to get into the e-commerce business.
Sure. Thanks for the time today, guys. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for coming on, Frank.
Join our next episode of the Year, Make, Model, Money podcast, the DH2T Auto Parts podcast, where we'll interview another mover and shaker in the automotive parts industry and give your business the boost it needs to succeed in the online world.